morning, y'all. This morning I want to share some dreams that I've had recently. And another dream I'm going to share is just a really amazing dream. I guess you could call it amazing, awesome, kind of scary actually, sobering maybe is the right word, that another family member of mine had that I'm going to share with y'all. But before I share my recent dream, I'm going to share one that goes hand in hand with that one from January 2021. So I will actually, if y'all want me to, I will put in my description section of this YouTube video, I will copy and paste that dream and that YouTube video from January 2021. Because it goes with this one, so you can, if you want to watch it, and you can just confirm that I'm telling y'all the truth. But anyway, so in January 2021, I had such a significant visions and dreams that night. It was like, I didn't know at the time that what the Lord was showing me was some stuff that was going to play out for like ever since January 2021 until now. And so I'm going to share just a few of these, just very shortly. And then if you want to go back and watch them in detail, you can. But one of the dreams that I had that night, I saw a poster with an eagle on it. And we know that eagle represents, that's the bird for America, United States of America. It's kind of like a, an emblem of freedom. And also also the eagle kind of in the spiritual meaning is like a prophetic. It's like eyes, that can see clearly ahead. An eagle can see like I think at least a mile away. So, anyway, so an eagle is a very prophetic and just an emblem of freedom and justice and liberty. So anyway, but I had this vision. I saw a poster, and I saw an eagle on it, but it was so faded out that you could just barely make out what it was. And so I felt like that God was showing me, especially looking back now, I think I might have even shared it in the dream, but I'm not sure. I didn't even go back and watch it. But, an eagle representing freedom, and that being faded out, like some of our freedoms may be trying to be taken from us. And so then one of the visions that night, and I just want to say this, first and foremost, when I have these dreams, I have nothing to do with it. I can't control what I dream. I can't control the visions I have. And I do not worship the man that I had a vision of. I don't think he's a god. I don't think he's any different than any other man. I just think he has an assignment of God upon his life. And so, but in this vision, I saw President Trump, and he was dressed exactly like a king of old school, with the red velvet robe, and how he had the animal, the white animal with the black on it, like fur, like black fur. Y'all know how the old kings were dressed, just like, very regal. He had a crown on his head, a gold crown on his head, and he was holding a scepter. And in this vision, I heard these words: the Lord wants to crown Trump as king, which I know that represents president for America. But, in the old, the Lord always would anoint a man in the Old Testament to be king. So it's basically the same, except for it's a little bit different in our country. But that's the words the Lord spoke to me or this angel spoke to me. The Lord wants to crown Trump as king over America. And so that was that dream. That vision. That was that same night. I had all these series. There was either 10 or 12 visions that night. I can't remember. Something like that. Anyway, and then I saw in this same series of dreams that night, I saw a man dressed like Daniel Boone with a coon hat and a leather jacket. And all of a sudden, as he stood there, I watched it. There was a group of people that began to douse him with lightning fluid, like they were fixing to throw a fire on him and completely burn him up. And when I think about Daniel Boone, he represents our forefathers, those who paved the way for us, in our country. And I feel like I didn't realize when I dreamed this in 2021 that we were going to see a burning of our country in ways, and bringing down symbols and the things that we have held dear, the values that we've held dear, the things that our forefathers have paid for us dearly, for the freedoms of speech and these things. I did not know that we would go through the fight of our life in our country like we have this last 2 years. Okay. And then this last vision that I want to share with y'all, and the reason I'm sharing this last vision with y'all is because it goes hand in hand with the one that I just had just a few days ago. The last vision I saw in the series of dreams and visions that night, I saw a man dressed exactly like George Washington. I thought it was George Washington, but I didn't know. I didn't see his face, but it was a man dressed exactly like George Washington. If you go Google pictures of him, that's exactly what I saw. But in my dream, I didn't see his face. I wasn't sure that it was George Washington, actually. But I saw this man, and he was holding the Constitution in his hands. And so this was the last dream, like I said, or vision in this series of dreams and visions. I can't remember if this one was a dream or vision, because like I said, I didn't go back and watch it, but you can go back and watch if you want to. But I knew in this experience, this dreams or vision, that in the end of this series of events, that the Constitution, even though there would be a fight against our freedoms, against the freedoms that our forefathers gave us by writing the Constitution, that in the end they would stand, even though there might be a great fight. Well, I did not know, of course, that we would have a fight for our Constitution, and there has been such a fight, and there continues to be a fight for our Constitution in this nation. For many years, there's always been people that have fought against it, but I've never seen so much as it has been this last year or so, about 2 years or so. Oh, I had this other dream I forgot I wanted to share too. This wasn't the last dream that I had. This was just one of them that I had, and I can't remember in what series this came. But in one of the visions I had that night, I saw these, what looked like, they look like tugboats, to be honest with you, but I don't really know what a tugboat looks like, but they were small boats, and they were made of iron, kind of like iron, I think, but they were completely rusted. And I mean, when I say completely rusted, they were so rusted and broken down that I knew one movement or anything that happened, that they would be so corroded. These were so rusted and so corroded that they was like a hair's breadth away from being so corroded that the people in these boats would fall in the water. It was like they were barely hanging on, knowing that any minute these boats would be so corroded that they couldn't make it. And so I feel like, looking back now, when you think of all the things that's happened in this last 2.5 years, about, the supplies of things, but also in the Bible, there's a scripture, I didn't look it up, but it talks about where moth and rust does corrupt. And moth and rust kind of represent man's works, man doing things on his own, kind of apart from God, the works of man. And I knew that without God, we would sink in this country, that we would sink. We would not make it apart from God's help. And that we would go through something that we would definitely need the hand of God in. And I feel like as a nation, we are definitely, y'all, if y'all don't see it, we are there. We are really there. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist or anything like that and be too dramatic. But if you look around at our nation right now, I'd hardly recognize it even from 2.5 years ago. So anyway, now I want to go into those last couple of dreams that I had, and one that a family member had. This one I had on April 27th, 2023. I woke up, it was a Monday morning, I believe it was a Monday morning. I woke up at 5:19 a.m. straight out of this vision that was so clear, y'all. I saw someone standing there as clear as I would see my hand right now. I believe it was a vision because it was so clear. I saw what looked like, once again, President Washington, George Washington, President George Washington, except for this time, in and like that last one I had from 2021, I didn't see the face, so I wasn't sure, but it was like it looked just like George Washington. But this time in my vision, I saw a man that looked exactly like George Washington, dressed exactly like George Washington, except for George Washington, it was President Trump's face. He had his blonde hair, although what was kind of crazy is, you know how George Washington has that kind of wavy hair? So in that vision that morning, it was President Trump with his blonde, kind of yellowy blonde golden hair, but it was kind of frizzy a little bit, but it was President Trump. I absolutely had no doubt it was President Trump standing there. And I felt like when I came straight out of that vision. It was 10 minutes before my alarm went off. And when I came out of that vision, I remembered immediately that vision I had, that last vision I had in 2021 about the Constitution. And so anybody that watches the news very much knows that President Trump has been going through many, many battles with court battles and things like that. And there has been an all-out war of assignment, a wicked assignment against him. I don't think he's a perfect man, but I do think that there are people that would do anything to keep him from running for president, because we know that he is running for president. But I felt like that God is going to use him to fight for our Constitution. I still feel like God has an assignment and a mandate upon his life, and we need to pray for him. I don't think he's an innocent person, like I said, completely innocent. And I think he says things he shouldn't say sometimes, and his mouth gets a little ahead of him. But I do feel like that God in the Old Testament and in the New Testament did not use perfect people. If you read about Peter, Peter was his mouth, he would use his mouth and go off on people and, want to call fire down on people. And, Jesus called him one of the sons of thunder. So he was, he had a temper. So I kind of see that same kind of temperament in President Trump. I also know that President Trump has done some things in his past and had affairs and things like that. And he's not perfect, but so did King David. King David killed a man and had an affair with his wife, killed the man. And so God can use imperfect people to do to do what he's called them to do. And I don't think that the President of the United States is called to be a pastor, but he is called to do hard things, and he's called to do right things, and he's called to represent Americans. And one thing I did love about Trump and when he was president is that he did do just about everything he promised to the American people he would do. He didn't take a salary. The man, when he was in office, lost money, where most people that go in office go in with less than they leave with, and Trump left with less than he went in with. And the way I see Trump is that why would he do this? What agenda does he have? He's already extremely wealthy. He was extremely wealthy when he went in. He had plenty power. He was friends with everyone in Hollywood and presidents and people of influence. And now he is a persecuted man that continues to go back to do it. He's already been president. Why does he need the power? He didn't take a salary. He's not becoming rich. He's having to fight every day I heard Eric Trump interviewed every single day. They are given another lawsuit. One of the kids or him, every single day they are hit with another lawsuit. And so what's the reason? It would be easier just to go back to his life. He's already been president. He could take a salary for life. So what is the point? So to me, I feel like what would his agenda be except for truly wanting to help the American people with the gifts and the mandate of God upon his life. So anyway, I'm going to move on. But on May 2nd, 2023, I had, this was another vision. I seen floods. I seen so many floods, visions of lots and lots of floods. I feel like it was in America, but it may not just be limited to America. Also, I don't know if these floods represent spiritual or natural floods, but let's be praying about that. I do believe something my sister, she prayed about, that God, let us be flooded with the power of God in our country. Let us be flooded with, truth and revelation. So let's agree with that. Let's agree that these floods are going to be spiritual floods of, God's glory and God's presence. So anyway, oh, and I had this dream. I had this dream just a couple nights ago. Actually, this was another vision. I saw a vision of a flag, and it was, I think, horizontal is when it goes this way, right? This horizontal. But in this vision, I saw a red, white, and blue flag. And I didn't even know what this flag represented, but I just saw this flash of this flag. And so I went and Googled it immediately, because it was like I had just went to sleep that night. And it looked exactly like the Netherlands flag. Now, I don't know if there's another country that has this exact red, white, and blue, the primary red, white, and blue colors. But it looked exactly like, if you want to go Google the Netherlands flag, that's exactly what it looked like. I don't really even know a whole lot about the Netherlands. I know it's Dutch and the Dutch countries, Dutch, and I don't know all the countries there, but anyway, so I don't know if something is going to happen in the Netherlands, or if, I have no idea. Like I said, I have no idea about it. But anyway, that's what I saw. I went back to sleep, because I had just went to sleep. And this time I had a dream. And in my dream, I saw this desk. And at the desk, well, it was like a table, really. It was like a table, and there was a man sitting there at the table. And this man looked at me, and he just said 3 simple words. And I think this is so odd, and I don't know what it means. And maybe there's somebody by this in the past that I need to go look up and see if they were called this. But this man said, Greta the Great. Greta the Great. And so, I don't know, maybe there's some person in our history that was called Greta the Great, or some significant minister. I have no idea. You know, maybe some Christian martyr. I don't know. But anyway, I heard those words, Greta the Great. So maybe y'all can look it up. And if you see something, please tell me in the comment section, because I have no idea what that means. And this last dream that I want to share, and hopefully it won't take too long to share this. This was a dream that a family member shared with me in my family. I'm not going to give their name because they haven't really given me permission to share this dream, but I feel like since I'm not giving their name, it will be okay. And maybe later I can get them to actually share it in more detail, but I'm just going to share it like they sent it. They sent a text to us. And so I'm going to share, I'm just going to kind of read off the text the way it was sent, because this dream is so significant, y'all. And the person that shared this, the last several dreams they've had have literally come true. And one of the dreams they had was before the Capitol riot. They saw that. They saw some stuff going on with, I believe it was Iraq. Now, I don't think they were given a country name. Not Iraq, I'm sorry. Ukraine. I don't think they were given a country name, but they were given a dream that was so significant that I think it went hand in hand with some of the stuff we've seen there. And I'm not going to go into a lot more detail on that. But anyway, I just promise you, when they shared this dream, it was like, I'm sharing this dream because I was like, my goodness, the last several dreams of yours have come true. Don't you think that's pretty important? And they were like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even realized it. But anyway, so this was the dream. This person was in a lodge type building, and they were somewhere doing a stand-up comedy routine. And if you know this person, that's kind of like how they are. This person is funny all the time. They've always been like that. I've known them their whole life, and so they've always been kind of fun and funny, and they can tell jokes. And then, you know, and it's like a way that you can get in the heart of people, and just, you know, it's like you gain influence into people's hearts with humor. And, you know, the joy of the Lord is our strength. So sometimes just a good laugh just makes you feel better. It creates endorphins. Y'all know how that is. And so anyway, so they were just doing, it was like something they had done a long time, they said. And so anyway, they said in this dream that people would come to hear them all the time, because at the end of their routine, they would hold a mic up and people would ask questions or say things, you know, or they would ask them questions, and the crowd would look forward to that. They loved, you know, being able to talk in the mic, you know, with this person asking them questions. And so anyway, but they had this one rule that you couldn't hold the mic. This person would hold the mic and they would do all the question asking. So anyway, this person looks in the back of the crowd and he sees the singer named Sting. And Sting was with a group of his friends, and it was an area roped off in the back just for them, and they were all sitting together. And so when this person saw them at the back, just as a joke, he walked up to Sting and handed in the mic. And in the dream, Sting whispered in this person's ear, and he said, have you heard the news about Alicia Keys and Britney Spears? And this person says, no. And then Sting whispers, they've been killed. And this person says, and Sting says, do you want me to make that announcement to the people? Do you want me to share it with the people? And this person says, oh, no, 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 don't do that. I would not want to do anything without verifying this information. And so anyway, after that, the thing was over. And I'm just going to say this, sometimes when, from my own experience of dreams, sometimes when it's something like that is put in a dream, it's like it represents a marker of time, maybe something that you'll pay attention to mark a time period of something that might happen later. So anyway, and sometimes also what I've realized is sometimes death also can, it may not be like real life death. Sometimes it could be a reputation, a death of reputation. So just to put those two little things in there, or maybe Sting might come into the news or something. I don't know. Anyway, just to put those little things out there, just for you to think about, because we don't always know. The Lord will give us dreams as symbols and emblems of things. So we don't just like make a complete judgment on something, you know. Okay, so anyway, so this person says, next the crowd all starts to walk out, and this person leaves and walks out behind the building. And he says, and they said, as flying around in the sky is what I call the Air Force super secret next generation fighter jet that hasn't even been revealed yet. And so I don't know anything about this yet, but supposedly I guess there's something they're working on. Who knows? So, or maybe they didn't know that it was something, but in the dream, he knew that it was something secretive, but all of a sudden it got revealed. Okay. So in the dream, he was surprised to see it flying around. So they took out their phone to take a picture of it and noticed it was flying in circles above their position. And this person was trying to take a video because he wanted to get, a video of this jet flying around. And all of a sudden they noticed the whole sky was filled with military-like planes, like the entire Air Force was in the sky, filling the whole sky. Then they looked out into the ocean. So they were by the ocean. This person said they felt like it might have been the California coast, but they weren't 100% sure, but it just felt like that. And sometimes in dreams, we don't know for sure. So it could be, who knows, may not be. He said they looked out into the ocean, and what seemed like the entire Navy fleet was in the ocean coming in this person's direction. They felt the need to go back inside, but it was so dark. So they tried to turn on the flashlight on their phone to give them light, but it would not open. So they just had to walk around in the dark to the front of the place where he had been. Where they did the stand-up, where they had been staying. So then as they started walking, they noticed a group of about a dozen teenagers walking around the corner that had been at the show. And he asked them if they had noticed the airplanes and the ships. And just then, as I turned to show them what they had saw, I looked up and the entire army of soldiers were either coming down on ropes out of helicopters hovering over the beach area, or they were parachuting down and landing all around us. The sky was full of parachutes as far as your eye could see. As soon as their feet hit the ground, they all ran towards the area where the planes were circling and the ships were heading. All of a sudden, another soldier and a dog that was completely dressed in camo landed right next to me, and then they went into a completely different direction. And I told this soldier they were going the wrong way, but they ignored me, and I realized they knew exactly what they were doing. I then started to walk fast to go back into the building because I knew something major was about to happen, and then this person's alarm went off. And so, anyway, I wanted to share that with y'all. We know there's a lot of stuff going on at the border right now. We know that A lot of people are getting in from other nations. It's mostly men. We don't know what's going on. It could be people that would cause great harm to our country. I find this very interesting that this was going on at the border, or at the, the ocean where, the border of the country. So I feel like that I want us to be praying for our country. What was very interesting is a few days ago, I was reminded of a dream that Rick Joyner had about what would happen at our border. This dream was about 2015, I believe, or 2016, somewhere around then, about our border would be, he saw our border, people coming in over our border, and it was like an invasion. And that what would end up happening because of this was that there would be states that would get into almost like a civil war against the government because the government was not protecting our borders and not protecting the people, and we were having an invasion at the border. And I've had a couple of dreams myself about, and I shared this one with y'all a couple of weeks ago. I saw cartel coming into our country, and they were literally occupying America. They were occupying a part of America, part of the land across the border, not just in their country, but they were occupying land and they were trying to take part of our country. So I do feel like that we need to pray about this dream that I shared with y'all. And if you want to, I could actually also put in the comment section, Rick Joyner sharing his dream that I found the other day. It's not actually Rick Joyner's YouTube channel because I couldn't find, I don't know if he has one, but I couldn't find it. If he does, it might be called something beside his name. But anyway, it's him sharing about this this border invasion and this coming civil war that he felt like that he saw coming to America. So anyway, I'll put that, my dream, and I'll put that one in the comment section. And if y'all want to go watch those to go along with this. And anyway, but that's what I wanted to share today. Oh, let me just share this one verse that God gave me this morning that is so powerful that I feel like that that we need to understand. It's just very interesting. It's about the wisdom of God, and we need wisdom in these times. This was Proverbs 3, and it starts in verse. It's like 13 through 16 or so, and it says, "Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, and the one who gets understanding. From the gain of her is better than gain from silver, and her profit is better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, in her left hand are riches and honor." Verse 17, her ways are ways of pleasantness, and her paths are paths of peace. Think about that in that dream. When we use wisdom, it says all of her paths are peace. And this is the last one I want to share in verse 18. She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her, and those who hold her fast are called blessed. What we need in our nation more than anything is God's wisdom, God's discernment, and his wisdom in this hour to navigate through these times. We have, even if this battle that Rick Joyner saw and my relative saw is spiritual. It could be spiritual. I don't know if it's natural, if it's spiritual. I know that this person that had those other true dreams, they were natural dreams that came to pass, the capital thing. But we can pray and we can use God's wisdom, and he can give us wisdom for the times and for the seasons we're in to understand how to navigate through this. And, maybe we need to have a little food on hand or a little water on hand. I have no idea. I'm not saying, to do that. I'm just saying use wisdom and pray and ask God for direction in this season for your family's life. And anyway, thank you all so much for watching my videos. The last video I shared was a video of just my husband. It's just a personal video. It's not spiritual. It's just him sharing stories of his life for our kids. Anyone that watches my channel knows that I started this channel to merely share my dreams and visions with my family and my children, to have documented. So when you see things like this, I hope it doesn't offend people. Sometimes I have people comment and say things like, why do you have to, post this, these things? And I usually just delete the comments because, these are for my family and I don't want them going back in time and when I'm not alive someday or my husband's not alive someday and, just seeing ugly comments, because I literally started this for my family. And so I just pray that those who watch it that aren't my family, I just want to be a blessing, and I just want to, I want to just magnify God. And he shows his secrets, so we can pray. He shows the enemy's assignments, so we can pray. And hopefully some of those don't come to pass, or they're lessened, or they're lightened. And anyway, thank you all so much for watching, these videos. I love you all. I pray for you all, and God bless you. Thank you.